Let's see how we can create letter forms from a simulation of a halftone dot pattern. I should say that effects like color halftone, which you can find under the effect menu, pixelate, color halftone, and the halftone pattern are really not going to cut it in this context because they don't give you the required amount of control. Instead, what I'm going to do is rasterize the type, convert the type into an object mosaic, and then convert the square mosaic tiles to round dots. In addition, I'll make several sizes of dot, which I will save as graphic styles. Okay, so my type, which I've already converted to outlines using this option, began as OCR-A 150 points, to which I added an 8-point black stroke just to beef up its weight. But as I say, that's already been converted to outlines. So my next step is to apply a Gaussian blur. And I'm going to do this to introduce more gray values. So I'll come to the effect menu, blur, Gaussian blur, and I want a blur of 10 pixels. Next, I'm going to rasterize the type. Object, rasterize. And in this case, I'm going to use a medium resolution of 150, and I'm also going to add 2 millimeters of space around the object. Now I want to take my rasterized type and convert it to an object mosaic. So what we've actually done here is convert vectors to pixels, and now we're going from pixels back to vectors. Now, how many tiles you have, you'll need to experiment to get just the right number of tiles. I found that to create just a simulation rather than an authentic looking halftone, but a simulation of a halftone, fewer tiles were actually better. So I'm going to go with 50 in width, and then I'm going to choose use ratio, and that will give me a proportional number of tiles in height. And I also want to make sure that I've got delete raster checked so that it deletes the original raster object. The image is now made up of a grid of pixel-like squares. And I want to ungroup these, deselect, click on one of the white squares, and then come to the select menu, same, fill color, and delete all of those. Now zooming in, so I'm going to select one of the darkest squares, come to the effect menu and choose convert to shape, ellipse. I want the size to be absolute, and I want the size of my largest dot, in this case, to be 2.75 millimeters. I'll click OK. And I now want to create a graphic style based upon that. Let me make sure that the color here is black, and then I will come to my graphic styles panel where you can see that I already have some pre-made. I'll choose new graphic style, and I'm going to type in the size 2.75 mm. I'll click OK. Now I'm going to choose to view my graphic styles as a small list. Switching now to my magic wand, I want to select all of the dark squares and apply that same graphic style to them. So now let me choose one of the darker grey tiles. I'll start out by applying the same graphic style to that, and then using the appearance panel, edit that effect and reduce the size. And in this case, I'm going to go down to 2 millimeters. Click OK. I'll make a new graphic style. I'll call that 2mm. Come to my magic wand tool. And I have quite a few different shades of grey here, but to simplify things, and I think it's going to work better if it's simpler, I want to use just 3 sizes of halftone dot. So I'm now going to select all of my dark greys and middle greys and apply that lesser size of halftone dot. I'll now switch back to my direct selection tool, choose one of the lighter grays, start out with the 2mm dot, come to my appearance panel, edit the size of that dot, and I'm going to go down to 1.5, click OK, create a new graphic style based on that size, back to my magic wand tool and select all of the light grays, and then apply that smallest size of dot. And there is our overall effect, with the type now made up of 3 different sizes of halftone dot.